Good morning, everyone, and welcome to another sync on the Python working group. So let me open the this one, and let's go with the first uh, exit criteria. Yep. Uh, is Mo, do you have any updates
Hmm?
on this first
Yeah,
point?
yeah, sure. Initially, we had like the onboarding guide and mentorship and collaborative learning group. Like the only pending one is the collaborative learning group. I was aiming to add it to the docs, but I talked to Eduardo and I think it should be an issue because it will be one learning group starting now. After some months, it will be another learning group starting. So it's better to have a kind of an issue to track that. Each group can comment on it, or we add it to the handbook. But I think it should be an issue for easier communication on the Slack channel. Yeah.
So I had what's the name of the book? Hands-on. Practical notebook, hands-on ML. There's this one. Schedules. Where is this? Okay, that was this. We had a repository for another book that can serve as an example, maybe later, but not sure if it will fit this format that we're looking for the one here. So let's look at the docs for this. Not self-hosted models, Python guide. Okay, so this is the learning Python part, right? So we have learning resources, we have the learning group, office hours. Have we scheduled this already?
No, this one I have not scheduled yet, but I don't know which calendar should we add to because we have a calendar for code review. I think it
Mm-hmm.
is it's called pair programming. I think it should be there, not in engineering, but yeah.
Um, if I know that the front end code review office hours is on the team GitLab team meetings calendar. Then the company all the company has access to it, but we can add for example, for now to the SAI powered uh, calendar, and then we move to the appropriate calendar over time. Like having one calendar is already enough. Just having those dates separate. It doesn't need to be every week. It can be bi-weekly, or yeah, we can adapt over time.
Okay, I will do that then.
Okay. Um, Recorded group meetings, mentorship process. My question is, we can discuss this. What is missing here? So somebody that comes and wants to learn Python and ends up in this document, what is missing, or is
I
it
don't
something
think
we want to add over here?
I don't think there is anything missing. The only two additional points that we need to add is, or we might need to add is the ones you mentioned, the office hours and the collaborative learning group. So I think
Mm-hmm.
those are like just additional supporting points.
Mm-hmm.
But as of it now, like I think anyone can start with the document.
Okay.
Again, like I talked, for example, to like yesterday to Jessie, like she like last week. So she's using another website that she shared. I think as we have now, we can add more resources as we go, but the resources there are more than enough to start
Mm-hmm.
with, right?
I have a small
Okay.
idea. It's also based on the yesterday thread that Eduardo you started in
Mm-hmm.
work Python stewardship working group, and Jessie also replied that for her basically she needs some structure, so she would
Yeah.
prefer to have like a learn the basics and then some additional important libraries. So I wonder if it's like when I opened this page and I remember myself starting kind of learning Python to do the tasks that I was supposed to do. I kind of missing here. Yeah, let's rephrase it a bit differently. So there could be like two approaches to actually to learn Python in GitLab. You are assigned the task and you start working on it, and then you might go through this like list of this resources and find something for you. Or you might actually dedicate time to learn some basics of Python first. And I think this is kind of like a preferable way, but it also means that managers need to allow people to dedicate a bit of time to do that. But the question is, when have you make sure that you kind of have enough information to actually start your task? And I would think that maybe if we have some kind of like a checklist or kind of on your kind of like when we have the onboarding issue, you have this checklist and you just go through it. And when you're kind of done, you say, yeah, you onboarded to GitLab. Maybe we can do kind of like set for learning Python.
I think that's a good idea, but the thing, like people learn differently. Like for example, someone prefer reading books, someone prefer like watching videos, someone prefer following an interactive like IDE, like the website that Jesse shared. So we have all resources listed there, but if we create something like a checklist, I'm not sure what should be the listed items for this checklist. It might be different based on each one preferences. But
Yeah.
if it's something related, for example, to AI Gateway, we have to say, hey, the checklist is Pydantic and Fast API. This is the checklist. But for Python itself, I don't know what can we do. And still also for Pydantic and Fast API, some people might prefer videos. And yeah.
No, I'm not meant to create a checklist to like
Hmm?
kind of go to this page and like read this Wikipedia page and then go to the CLI and like try some exercise. No, I meant it the checklist of what you think that you know supposed to know, like first how to create a class in Python, second how the typing like duck typing in Python works, second, third fast API, fourth Pydantic or like PyTest. And when a person, yeah, I kind of know that, yeah, this also I know. Maybe this is some new library. I should just kind of quickly check what it is. Okay, I know what is it. Now I can start my work. So basically, just list of the like doesn't list of kind of the most basic stuff what you need to
Mm-hmm.
know. But again, the thing is usually all these courses they are concentrated, like for the beginners, they're concentrated only in Python, and I feel it's not enough to actually to successfully then accomplish some task in GitLab projects because we use like uh, as is like infrastructure of Python, the other libraries, and basically this is for me was also the case when I started. I passed some course and I'm like, okay, I know how to create an arrays in Python, but then I was stuck with Pydantic and I didn't know how to run PyTest. And this is not covered usually in courses. And
Mm-hmm.
if you don't know, if you need to know, like if you don't know the name of Pydantic, you won't be able even to find the kind of the course and you won't be able to understand if it's actually something you really need.
Mm-hmm. So, okay. So what I understand is, let me go back, is not a checklist of resources in itself, but a checklist of goals that we need to learn to achieve that. Okay. Can we create an issue for this? And again, can we discuss this on the issue itself so that we can? I think it's a good idea. People also need, like, we have a lot of resources here, which is good. This is, but sometimes having too many resources can be overwhelming. Um, but having the list of things that need to be learned, that would be a good idea, or suggested things that need to be learned. I know I see that, for example, here, when building, we use Fast API and Pydantic, which is great. So we have something here already listed. Maybe we can have a section around here that says, this is what you should learn. No resources, just a list of the things that so that you have it more concentrated. And then below we have the learning resources. Just an idea of, and then separate. Okay, you already know this, then you can kind of like a like a tree of learning. But okay,
Yeah, I kind of think that this is an even better idea to just have it in the document.
yeah.
So like kind of like a preface.
And then Vitaly, do you want to share?
Yeah, so I'm usually follow these roadmaps for different topics from time to time, and we can use this maybe as an inspiration. There is of course more stuff, but we can cut out like Django and all this stuff which we don't need, and because there are also stuff like basics and testing, and yeah. On this roadmap passage, if you click every point, you can also like read a couple of articles.
Mm-hmm. We click over here, and then you have
Roadmap
the.
for our needs, and yeah,
Mm-hmm.
because you can see we are testing, there are different things. We can just cut out stuff we don't need. For example, this in frameworks with a Django Flask, we don't need this. We can only focus on Fast API and maybe
Mm-hmm.
create a small one.
Yeah, it's a good idea. Maybe we can add this resource over there as well. Would be interesting. Okay, so the action point on this one is add this to the documentation, right? Create an issue and add to the documentation.
I'm okay with that, but I think this roadmap is too big
No,
to
yeah,
it's like mastering Python. Our goal here is to get started with Python, right?
yeah,
So I see it's
no,
a good thing for in the long run, but getting started, I always wanted to start Python and I was always going to roadmap.sh and I found a lot of stuff, a big list, and I could have easier started with a small like learning material and then find my own way working in GitLab, AI Gateway, and
mm-hmm,
other projects. And in the same time, I also don't want to have a dense file. I want to make it like, yeah, it's clear. Not me, but we want to make it for sure clear. But yeah, I can add this
yeah,
as a reference, but I would say for mastering Python, you should look
Yeah,
at this.
but that's what I'm saying. We can simplify this. We can even create our own roadmap, only the stuff we
yeah,
need, and cut everything else we don't need.
Mhm.
I'm not saying we should follow this particular roadmap.
yeah.
But do you think the current talks are missing something or having more than what is needed? Because we have this roadmap, but in a different representation. It's just
Yeah.
like a README file instead of a UI thing. And I found it easier to have links that you can click and go to. And for example, in this roadmap, you don't have resources. You
You
can
have
just,
it.
oh, okay,
You do, yeah.
that's new.
And sometimes people need, and usually like it in the books, it's
Hmm?
structured where you start with this and then
Yeah,
follow this. If you have just a huge list of things, you don't know where to start and what to do next.
yeah.
That's the issue.
Okay,
So this is basically what Tatiana was speaking, like a kind of like a checklist of things to learn. But then the resource itself are hidden, so it's easier to parse. Is that correct? Would this work, Tatiana, for what you were mentioning?
yeah, I just my goal is to kind of give a tool to the person who's learning Python to be confident that they can actually start working on the issues. Because
Yeah.
like my biggest fear is that you can learn, like you can spend multiple hours in learning Python, but it doesn't stop your actual work, and you will be you could, you say like, okay, I'm a bit confident, I learn a bit of Python, I can start the issue, and then you will be blocked. And then I guess this is what we're trying to solve, to kind of enable developers to just start and work on GitLab issues.
Yeah, I think it's also a matter of like what is specific to just Python and what is, because Python can be used for almost anything. So I think you need to learn a bit about generic Python and then specific for, let's say, backend or API development. So perhaps this roadmap, I like the idea of cutting the roadmap down into like the starting point, but also if we can specify it for the type of work that we're actually using Python for.
And sure. Okay. I want to cut off the discussion here just so that we can define an action point from this. What I hear is that we need a little bit more structure on setting up the and so a person that is new and their task is to contribute to a Python code base, to GitLab's Python code base specifically. Like they received an issue and need to work on that. They need to drop in. They need in a structured way to achieve that, like to know that they are capable or to give them the knowledge to go to complete that issue they worked on, right? So Mo, can I ask you to create an issue for this so that we can discuss offline and then we can we can think about the structure way
Yes, I will do that.
to discuss the structure of the document. I do think what we have right now is already the starter. And as Mo said, we have the beginnings and now we can iterate on, even if this working group is disbanded, because it will be disbanded, we have the anchor to work on this further and iterate because, well, we'll never stop adding to that documentation. Okay, so this is for Mo. Okay. Before we go to the okay, so the guidelines on and templates. Dan, do you want to discuss this?
Yeah, I haven't made any progress on the template yet, apart from the discussions whether we go with the static template, which we can alleviate from, I guess, the GitLab templates. So we can have that for all users of GitLab as well. Or in addition, have dynamic templates where we can use tools like Cookie Cutter or Copier, which is another tool that ops use to generate the templates. But what I mean dynamic means that they have questions that from user to enter a few things like what type of projects there are, what framework they want to use, and so on and so forth. So I think I inclines to go with the first option for now, like having a static templates to start with, and then we figure out what we're going to do with the dynamic one. But yeah, I need to spend some time on that one.
I know that Bruno was interested a little bit on this, so if you can if you can chat with him and collaborate with him on this,
Right.
that would
Yeah,
be
I think
nice.
he mentioned that he wanted to use it for data science, so different
Yeah.
type of projects that might require different setup. Yeah.
Okay. So is there any blocker here for you, or something that we need to address first, or something, or is just time?
It just tab. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So I'll leave you to work on like start with the static templates, and then we discuss the outcomes of the static templates later.
Yeah.
Um, do you have any, does anybody has any comments on this exit criteria so far? Let's go to the next one. Tatiana, code review and maintainership guidelines for Python code base.
Yeah, I didn't have much time to work on it, so I guess the last only update from the previous time was that Sholem merged some guidelines of the responsibility for maintainers, I think.
Yeah, so there is the testing.
There is
Uh,
a code review and mentorship.
I,
Yeah, this one.
yeah, this one.
Uh, this is what we have so far.
Mhm.
And speaking of other parts, I just wanna kind of ask this question again. When we're supposed to, like, this working group supposed to end? In the beginning of March or in the end of March?
31st of March.
Okay, so then I think it'll give enough time to actually to accomplish all the goals for this
Yeah.
goal.
Yeah, if it was the beginning, we will be quite on time to finish this. This working group will be expanded. March 31st.
I have
Okay,
one issue
so
here. Sorry, Eduardo. I will add something here.
I can, Go
Yeah,
ahead,
like
sorry.
what, there was one issue opened by Shola, and it said define contracts for backwards compatibility. Is anyone aware of what he means here? I did it
With
under.
regards, I am aware,
Mhm.
backwards compatibility.
Don't know if it's related to the
Um,
internship or not. Let me add it in a
just
separate
that.
section.
So that means should new versions of AI Gateway be compatible with older versions of GitLab.com?
Mhm.
Like, for example, on this is a format for Python services, not really for Python libraries, but for Python services. Because self-hosted customers and cloud connected, they can connect to the last version of AI Gateway from an older GitLab version. So we need to have some guarantees of backwards compatibility. And that's what it means.
And how it relates to the learning groups or getting started with Python?
This relates to maintainership.
Okay, so yeah, I don't know. I just then is it something that you're working on, Tatiana, or?
I just checked this actually issue, not in a epic. It's just an epic of this Python stewardship.
Yeah, it was attached to the epic that I was.
Yeah, so it's kind of not clear what it's supposed to be. But to be honest, I don't. A bit puzzled actually if it's kind of supposed to be something that we
Not
need to
not
define right
related.
now. Because it
Yeah,
feels like kind of does it really only related to the AI gateway, or it's related to some other services as well?
The problem is we only have one service right now, so that's why it's a lot more related to AI Gateway, but more services are coming up. And the maintainership, I think it depends a little bit on the project itself, but within this working group, it's not to define what does it mean to be backwards compatible, but I think the maintainer should be aware that the code might need to be backwards compatible, right?
Okay, so just to kind of my understanding of the goal for code review and maintainership guidelines for Python code base have been merged. Like my understanding, the goal is to create enough documentation and resources and like kind of some processes for people to step in as a maintainers for Python projects in GitLab, and then successfully actually do this job. So they can step in and then they can know what to do. With this, how this issue framed right now, it doesn't kind of seems like it's contributed to this goal. And I would argue this is something that we need to put directly to the move this issue to AI Gateway repository, like to the issue tracker, and work on it directly as a specific problem for AI Gateway. We can add some points to the guidelines that maintainers need to be aware, but I'm not sure why if we need to actually solve it.
But I think that's exactly it. Maintainers need to be aware. It's part of the maintainership of this, but it's not the GitLab, like it's not this guideline specifically. They go to define what backwards compatibility is, or how many versions should this be backwards compatible. But we should point at least to where this would be defined, right? I think.
I believe GitLab have some informations about this. I'm not sure we have to follow that conventions, like in terms of, I think there was a document backporting, and I talked briefly about backward compatibility. I guess that's an overarching visions for like all the team doing or develop services, I guess, but maybe we can link to it. I need to find out where it is though.
Yeah, I think we need to like yeah, we already have this backward compatibility contracts for the APIs, and it says that we need to support, I guess, for 2 major releases. That means it's kind of actually applied to AI Gateway already. So, kind of, what else? What do we need?
And like I think we should have like a point, like be aware of backwards compatibility, and just link to the documentation of general
Okay.
backwards compatibility.
Yeah, so then just kind of we need to basically this issue or define contracts for backward compatibility. We just need to, rename it, because this is
Yeah.
will be not the goal of the issue to define the contract itself, right?
Yeah,
Okay,
exactly. It's not the goal here. So can you take this?
sure. Yep.
Okay, clarify backwards compatibility in the docs. By clarifying means not defining, but just that to be aware and link to the proper places. Because you're right, we shouldn't define what backward compatibility means, for example, for AI Gateway. We already have those definitions. We are a little bit out of time, but I'm gonna on my side, on the deployment side, what I'm gonna start working on the next milestone, not on this milestone, on the deployment for deployment as a Linux package. So using systemd. I haven't started yet, but this is because distribution team is working on improving Omnibus, or rather improving the experience that Omnibus provides. so that in a way that would accommodate the Python packages because it doesn't support right now. So the idea is using system services, and this would apply for AI Gateway and any service that is to come later. So if we have more services like dual workflow, we'll be able to deploy. It's this issue here, and I'll start working on this on 17.10. 17.10. The other thing that I think somebody can help me with, or there's an issue. I just added this issue, but where is it? GitLab account for PyPy. Yeah, this one. If somebody can pick this up, I would appreciate. It's just that we have a GitLab account on PyPy, but it's not easy to use for other teams. It's owned by the Analytics API. They moved to the engineering 1Password. Could just somebody try to look at the experience of what that looks like and see if it's working or not?
Yeah, I can have a step on that.
You can step on that?
Yep.
Okay. Okay. So I'll tag you on that issue.
Mhm.
Okay. We are a bit out of time, but is there anything else we want to discuss? Any other point? We can discuss in the afternoon. If somebody's planning to join that one as well. Okay, sounds good then. Great. Thanks everyone for joining this sync. It's nice to see the documentation growing and becoming more solid. Thank you so much for the work so far. Cool. Bye bye.